Hello friends, today we're going to discuss how you can beat Jiu Jitsu with wrestling and how you can integrate the two if you're coming from a wrestling background. My name is Chris Matakas. I am a Jiu Jitsu black belt, a school owner. I've written 13 books about using Jiu Jitsu as a vehicle for personal development. And we created this channel because so many students don't fulfill their potential on or off the mats. And I don't want you to be one of them. So in this video, we're going to cover two things you can do on top and two things you can do on bottom to use your wrestling experience to beat Jiu Jitsu. So first up, when you're on top, the foundational aspect of wrestlers is their hips. And there's a beautiful corollary from hips in wrestling to hips in guard passing. Fundamentally, when we're passing the guard, we want our belly button, our belt knot, facing down. Because if you think of any sweep, a sweep is when you go from belly button down to belly button up. So to the degree that we can keep our belly button down and always neutral facing the ground, we're not going to get swept because that's not how the body works. So good guard passing is always keeping that neutral hip position and using the pressure of wrestling, constantly going forward and not losing tempo. So it's a beautiful corollary between the two. And then if you think about when you're on the feet wrestling, we're always hanging on our partner's head. You want to do the exact same thing when you're on top, because where the head goes, the body follows. So really good guard passing is to control the head. That is the ultimate end goal of guard passing, because by controlling the head, you shut down all guards. So whether you're kind of uninitiated and you're clubbing on the head with a collar tie, or you're somewhere tighter like a half guard and you're locking up head and arm control, we want to constantly nag and control the head. But what about when you're on bottom? We can still use wrestling in a really effective way. I think one of the best crossover skills that a wrestler can use is actually in their guard, which is kind of counterintuitive because we think wrestlers spend a lifetime making sure their back doesn't hit the ground. So when you put a wrestler on their back, they're like an upside down turtle. But that's not the case. We can wrestle from guard. If you envision like a sitting up guard, like a butterfly guard or De La Hiva guard, or even a half guard, they're really great opportunities to scramble and wrestle off our butt and attack that lead leg. So if you wrestled with success with single legs, you can have a very good guard centered around coming up on single legs in wrestling. So that's invaluable. And then the last component, just like how on the feet, hand fighting is everything, that holds true for the guard as well. So I like the metaphor of, imagine we're on a football field. I'm in one end zone, you're in the other end zone. And we've got the 50-yard line splitting us. I want to do all the hand fighting on your side of the field, past that 50-yard line, because that's going to give me an opportunity to capitalize on advantages that I have. And if I ever get beat in hand fighting, I've got all this space with which to make up where I'm at a deficit. So I think these are the ways in which we can use the skills we've learned in wrestling and apply them to jiu-jitsu. Work on the hips and guard passing, keeping neutral hips, hanging on the head, being annoying, constant pressure on top. When you're on bottom, that's when we wrestle off our butts. And then you do so through effective hand fighting on their side of the field. And this video is about how can we use wrestling to beat jiu-jitsu. And 2 weeks ago, I put out a video how to use jiu-jitsu to beat wrestling. But really what we want to do is have a marriage of the two, because that's when we become the most complete grappler. So it's our personal responsibility to cultivate all of these skills, bring them all into our game so we can become the grappler that exists in potential for us, and we can make that manifest in the world. So while we use these skills at odds with each other, the best grapplers use them in an integrated way, and I hope the same for you. So if this was useful, please subscribe. Let's get connected. I'm going to put out a lot of these this year. My goal is about 5 a week. So the goal is simple. I want to provide the value that you can use to get better on and off the mat, and I appreciate your attention while doing so. So happy training. I'll talk to you soon.